Hello and welcome to CAD2. Let's do a quick review of the basic geometry skills that we learned in the previous subject, CAD1. Here we see model space where I've got the background set to a white colour. Now remember, we can change that colour by typing in the command options, and from the options window you will have the display tab here and then colors that then bring you here to choose black or white or perhaps another color. I'm going to leave it at white just for the moment. The other thing we want to do is check that our drawing has the units we desire. So by typing in the command units, I can see I'm working in decimal length and degrees, and my insertion scale is set to millimeters. If I was going to do a drawing where I wanted to use meters as my formal units, then I could change that here in this drop down area. We'll leave it at millimeters for now. Another important area that we saw in CAD1 was the status bar at the bottom of the screen. Here we can see that I've got a variety of different buttons or modes turned on. Dynamic input is turned on. We've got polar tracking turned on, and let's see what that's set to. That's set at the moment to 45 degrees. And then next to polar tracking we've got object snap tracking and then object snap itself. And the settings for object snap at the moment we can see here being the first four options: endpoint, midpoint, center and geometric center. And then we skip node and we've got quadrant and intersection. So remember, we don't always want these all of those items turned on, as that will provide a fair bit of confusion when we start drawing. These other settings in the command line, transparency, selection cycling, and the annotation options, they can be on or off at the moment. They're not going to make much difference to when we first start drawing. We're going to create a simple building plan, and the first thing we're going to do here is create a new layer. So we hit our layer properties button, we click the new layer button, and we're going to call this layer walls. Okay, we're going to, let's say, choose a color for this particular layer, and we'll choose green. And the line weight that we'd like for this, again, is something we can set, so we'll choose 0.35. To make that the current layer, we double click here, get the green tick, and now we can see that that in fact is the current layer. Here is the building plan that we're going to be drawing, and this is in our notes, so I'm going to do a quick summary of how we might attack this. So I'm going to start by drawing the outside of the basic building frame using a polyline. I start with polyline. I'm going to pick a point and come straight down. Now this particular size is 10/500. And we can see that, oh, that's gone a long way off the page, but with a little bit of work with my mouse, I should be able to get it. Now, because this is the first line I've drawn, AutoCAD has to resize the viewing area of model space. So to do that effectively, I need to stop drawing temporarily, spacebar, and I'm going to go zoom extents. Z for zoom, E for extents, and now that effectively resizes my drawing area, and now I can see the end of my line, and I can continue on where I was. There's my snap, my object snap of endpoint. I'm going to come across 9,500, making sure I've got that green polar tracking line. Now this dimension is 4573. And I'm going to keep working my way around until I have the finished shape. So there's the finished shape of my wall. Now these are two separate lines because I had to stop and restart, so I want to join them together. So I select both lines, type in J, hit enter for join, and now I should have one single closed polyline. I do. I can very quickly make the interior walls by choosing offset, writing in the offset distance of 150, that's the wall thickness, and I want to be on the inside of my wall. There I go. And I can continue to work through and put the other features on the model. Remember, I'm just going to turn dynamic off now. Here we go. Turn dynamic off. I'm zoomed down on here. There's an interior wall I'm going to put in here, and it begins 3900 down, or should I say across from this corner. So I'm going to hover my mouse here, but don't click. Move my mouse to the right, type in 3900, and that allows me to start that line without any further construction, and then I come down 51, let's say, and then across until I meet that wall. Now just be careful that we get the right, I want the intersection, there it is, and this interior wall is only 100 thick, so I can choose that, go 100, and I have that. Now I need to put in two doors. There's a door for the main entry area, and then there's another door for this room. The main entry area door over here is 750 up from this outside corner. So I hover, I slide, and I type 750, and there is my first indication of the door. I could offset that, or I could also copy. Let's remind ourselves how copy works. Select the item, choose copy, pick a base point, move in the direction you want to go, and then type in the distance. And there's our copy, space to finish. And at this point I can go trim, tap my space bar, and say I want to get rid of those lines. Tapping the space bar enforce the selection of all the objects as cutting edges. And then the last item here for the door, in a similar fashion, from this corner I come up 200 across, and if I wish to copy that, it's going to be 900. Then I'm trimming, space, select what's to be removed, space to finish. And there we have it. Very quickly got our building plan together. Now there is a window over here that we can add in a similar fashion to the way that we've done the doors. Now that window frame begins 2250 along. And to select this, now just a reminder, remember if I go left to right with my mouse when selecting, I get a blue box and it only selects items that are completely within it. If I was to go right to left, I get the green box and it selects everything it touches. So in this instance, left to right, and then copy the width of the window, which was 5000. Again, trim, space, cut, and then I can simply join those two from midpoint to midpoint, and I have my window. Very simple plan, but it's encapsulating the main aspects we saw in CAD1, verifying our units, using our status bar modes to accurately draw lines of known lengths or to select points from known starting points. We've created a layer to put our objects on, and last but not least, let's do a quick check with our measure tool to see how we're going. So we can see there the width, interior width is 10.2, and the external width there is 10.5, and what they're 9.5, so we can confirm that we've got the exterior dimensions correct. And there's our interior dimensions. We're happy with that. Let's have a look at our little area in here. Put in there, there's 1000, there's the wall width of 150. So the quick measure tool, very handy to verify what we've drawn.